Fantastic. All right, thank you very much. Next up, we have an amazing panel of 5 guest speakers, 5 industry-recognised guest speakers, and very respected as well. 2 of them have already had the pleasure of, we've heard from 2 of them, I should say, already, from Lisa and Chris yesterday. Lisa, I see you've brought some company today. We've got hubby Mark on the couch there, fantastic, and we've got Chris back. Nicholas and James, directors of Nelson Alexander, here this morning. A very reputable brand here in Melbourne and servicing Melbourne and the surrounds since 1971, I'm told. I was only 6 years old when the brand started. You were too? Oh, okay, well, fair enough. Rightio. Chris Henry, I said, of course, Lisa Novak and Mark Manos. You stunned me before with your Spanish. I even got the nod from Christian back there. Christian said he was pretty good at that.
Very good.
Yeah, I did ask Maria, what did it for Maria? She goes...
She would have preferred Italian.
I'm not sure, but okay. I said that before. What could be better than 1 Novak but 2? So thank you guys for joining us this morning. Let's get started because we are on a schedule. Manos, you don't need the panel, do you? No.
Yeah, no, I need the clicker.
There you go, my friend.
And I'll hand it over to Nick. Guys, thank you so much for joining us today. I'm super excited. The first question is, talk to me, Mark. No socks. 46 years of age, no socks. I'm looking at all these other businessmen and women. I mean, obviously, Lisa accepted. And we've got socks on. So I just need to know.
Why?
Yeah.
Why not?
What a great response.
I actually believe he's become one of those people. There's a, Rate My Agent. Do you guys know Rate My Agent? We do Rate My Ankles.
Mate, after Alex Stefanovic, I was going to change our, obviously doing an exercise here yesterday, I was going to rename the Black Soul Conference to something else, but I'll leave it to next year's jokes, Arthur. Okay, moving forward. Guys, I'm super excited. Thank you so much for giving of your time and all the speakers that have come to the Black Salt movement, giving up their time. This is not a paid gig, so everyone gives up their time to give back to their community, to the real estate community. So first of all, can we say a big thank you to these guys because it really means a lot. We've got this panel is about longevity. This panel is about how do we establish some key components in our businesses, strategies, simple ones that can keep us on track, keep us motivated, and most importantly, loving our business. And I've had the pleasure of knowing these guys, Nicholas and James, for a short period of time through the RISE initiative. But, we know what an incredible business Nelson Alexander is in the Melbourne marketplace. And, of course, obviously with Chris and the Novaks, iconic businesses. But I'll start with, obviously, the Novaks. If you can all give us your 3-minute intro, tell us a bit about your business, when it started, size and operations.
So started the business in 2002. Been an agent now for 32, 33 years, and wasn't really a decision to start. It was sort of forced on us a little bit. We went through the story the other night. So we're now a team of 50. We manage just over 2,000 properties. We do commercial, residential projects, and we're in DY on the northern beaches of Sydney. So that sort of encapsulates sort of Palm Beach, sort of down to Manly, that area there.
Is it okay to ask revenue, number of sales?
Yeah, we do about probably it works out to about 8 million, 8.5 million a year.
So good sized business, big round of applause. Well done. Awesome.
Probably what Mark hasn't mentioned is that we started Novak Properties when Mark was just 23. That's quite incredible. Mark was the #1 selling agent for the professionals group across Australia. And long story short, he ended up getting fired. And we decided that we would open up our own agency in our early 20s. And I remember saying to Mark, "You've managed people before?" "Nope." Have you run anything to do with rentals before? Nope. Ever owned your own business? No. Managed staff? No. Okay, great, let's do it. This sounds like a great idea. So, we literally started from nothing. In our early 20s, we had no money, we had no resources, we had nothing at all. But again, long story short, we had a decent rent roll. Mark was buying up, in his previous job, was buying up a lot of the rent roll. So obviously that's a big lucrative part of any business. But opened our own agency and, had always known, Manos, that we wanted to do things differently. We never wanted to be like any other agency. We looked at franchises like McGrath, Bell, Hookers, Ray White, all great franchises, but we just couldn't conform. We just couldn't conform. We wanted to do things very differently and always did right from the outset. And even our office, you can go online and have a look. It has a 6 metre antipasto bar. That's our reception area. And it kind of resembles something between a hotel and an Apple store with its 6 metre high ceilings and 10 metre billboard.
Yeah.
So very different to anything else out there.
And you do that for two reasons. Obviously, one, for your clients, but more importantly, to obviously engage with your staff, isn't it? At the end of the day, you have an environment for your staff that is incredible, welcoming, different, because and you attract your tribe by doing that. So.
Well, that's exactly right. In an era where everything is moving so fast into the digital era, like what we've just heard from Daniel, excuse me, we very quickly realised that human interaction was so important, and we recognised that a long time ago. And when we've had our office now for the new office 8 or 9 years.
Yeah, 9 years. Yep.
9 years. So, we realised that very quickly, that things couldn't all just be digital. You couldn't have just a virtual office. There's nothing like just sitting belly to belly with people and having conversations. So every person that comes into our office, including our staff, it really is a great environment for the culture of our office. But every person that comes in gets an antipasto platter, gets a proper coffee, you have people into your home, you feed them, you look after them. Why wouldn't you do the same for the people that you do business with and your staff?
Yeah, really well. Well done. Yes.
It's the European mother. Pie day.
Pie day. Is it Pie Day Friday or Friday Pie Day? Pie Day Friday? Arthur, did you hear that? We have a debate. Over to Chris.
Yeah, our business was started by my mother actually in 2001. It was a small boutique office just in the Morpeth area in the Hunter Valley. I was in the construction industry. I was commercial and domestic plasterer, and I joined Mum when it was required. My father was diagnosed with cancer, and I came across to give Mum a hand to run the business, and I had absolutely no idea what I was doing. I was talking to the guys the other night about Mum was really shit scared to see me walk through the door because the way I spoke to the plasterers was not the way that I could talk to her staff. So language was a huge barrier just coming across into real estate, but I really took an absolute approach to self-education to actually learn the process really quickly. So the every audio at the time or tapes that I was putting into the car, just to continuously learn about how to connect better with people, how to professionally present, and how to actually learn body language techniques and all of those things. I actually really dived into all of those techniques really quickly. And I guess that work ethic that you put behind it from the beginning, and then over time, as you start creating more business, then you know how to handle yourself. You start then leaning into hiring staff and putting more team members on and trying to get that extension or version of yourself on expansion. Lee Woodward was probably the #1 coach that I leaned into at the time. I've had many coaches over the years, but I basically went to the complete salesperson's course and I learnt Lee's model. And it took so much weight off me because I thought, here's a model that's already been established that all I need to do is work through each one of the modules and build that into my business to give me the sales process. And that's what we did. And it took a period of a good 10 to 15 years to establish all of those key processes into your business. It's not something that just evolves overnight.
And today, the size of your business, Chris,
Size of the business, we've like a lot of people, had a big restructure, as I mentioned yesterday. We've got about 32 people in the business now. Rent rolls come down in size a little bit to around 1,250. But I've got an exceptional team, and you can't do this thing alone. Like, your team is absolutely everything.
100%.
And my partners in the business that have changed over the years, but Dee Martin, who runs our property management and operations, Andy Brownhill and Shantala, without those guys across all aspects of the business, you just wouldn't be able to get across what you've got to get across.
And your total volume now in revenue?
In revenue, we're just sort of nudging underneath that 8.
8 million.
But it's been an interesting couple of years.
Well, we're going to be talking about obviously how you saved $1 million in your business. So we're talking straight to your bottom line with a little bit of an exercise. So I'm really looking forward to asking you that a little bit later. Okay, over to Nick and James.
Yeah, so James will talk about the revenue and the size of the business. I joined the business. James and I actually have been in partnership in real estate for 36 years. We joined the Nelson Alexander Group 20 years ago. And when we joined, there was about 6 offices. There's now 15 offices. So we've gone through a growth journey with staff and offices and revenue. And I'll talk to it in a minute, but about building your business longevity, we have a very unique peer partnership that has evolved over the years. We've both got life and business coaches, and we bounce off one another as mates and as business partners, and that's been key. And I'll share a form shortly to our longevity and going through the ups and downs of business that we've all gone through, and no one's immune to that, and making sure you've got someone as a sounding board to help you navigate through those decisions. That's been really key.
Did you want to go that, or will you do the numbers first? We'll do the numbers first.
You got the numbers?
Yes. So James, the numbers of the business. So size.
We've got 400 people. We're in 16 locations. We manage now about 16,500 properties.
Can you repeat that?
And so we've got a lot of management, and we sell about 4,000 to 4,500 a year. We'll probably do 4,300 this financial year. Yeah,
that's incredible. So revenue is well over the 50 million, 60, 70 million in revenue.
It's a crook year, 75.
A crook year, 75 million. No, all good. Yeah.
A little bit closer.
Maybe swap.
Anyway, and a good year, 100.
A good year, 100. And I think it's really relevant what James was about to say. He goes, one thing about revenue, a different thing about profit, and there is 400 people in the organisation. So we're not talking about size for size sake. We're talking about, obviously, the longevity of a business and really the challenges of a business going from a director's EBU to this size. It's 2 totally different skill sets that leaders need to have. So thank you. And I will go straight to yourself, Nick, in regards, if I can get the next slide up, because this was fascinating when we got to speak. Can we get it up on the screen?
So I'll just share this with you. There's no great revelation in this, but I thought I'd share it because it's been key to our longevity. So James and I have been peer partners, where we've checked in with one another for the last 24 years, and we meet every Thursday morning at 8 o'clock, and we just bounce off one another.
Have we lost that? Or?
Hello? There we go. We bounce off one another, and essentially, look, when we were active salespeople, there was activity sheets that we evolved. Now there's the bigger picture stuff around leadership and leading people. And a lot of that is how are we feeling, checking in with ourselves first, because if we're feeling good, then we're better leaders, we're better people to be around, and we can manage the highs and lows. So the format is that we use this form here, check-in form. James and I meet every Thursday at 8 o'clock. We rate our week out of 10, we date it, and then we go through a score, and I'll just quickly talk about the self-assessment. So health, how is your health? And we rated each other. Relationships, and James might say, Nick, you need a date night with your wife, or you might need something if the score is low. Wealth, how are we going on the wealth? Our investments, and we've both helped each other invest our money. Work-life balance in this industry is a challenging one, and so we challenge each other about what are we doing outside of work, so we've got good balance. Spiritual, we both meditate. I think James is up and down, and I keep him accountable. So we find, I'll talk personally, that's an amazing way to have good balance and calm the mind. And so we rate each other each week. Personal development, how are we stretching ourselves? What are we reading? Goals, obviously. Fun and adventure is another good one. So James will go on motorbike trips across the Northern Territory. I'll go, water skiing, and we'll just check in that we're having some fun and adventure with our families as well. How's the business going? And passion projects. And I'll talk to a passion project of mine shortly. So what are we doing to have some passion projects outside of work that keep us enthusiastic, motivated, inspired? And then we have a total, so out of 100. And then we have commitments for the week that we're going to commit to. And then we come back the next week and look at how do we go with that commitment to each other. And it might seem fairly basic, but it's a wonderful way, particularly if you're leading a lot of people and you're in a industry there's a lot of pressures around performance. I find that we both find that's a great way to check in with one another and make sure that we're all, we're on the journey we want to be on. And that's been a really important, very simple. And the other thing I'd say is we handwrite it. So I find that if you're writing it down, your brain's connected to your eyes, connected to your hand, you're more likely to have a bit of emotion around it. It's not just hitting a keyboard, so it's handwritten, and that's also a key part to it.
Yeah, I think that's a phenomenal strategy. Every Thursday, and you've been doing it for how long?
24 years.
24 years, and in that time, how many times do you think you've missed it?
25 years, James has told me. I'll look, if we're on holidays, very, very, very rarely. Very rarely.
So that's phenomenal, guys. We talk about accountability buddies, and so I think that does deserve a round of applause because that shows commitment. Now, I think the most important thing about this slide is the simplicity of it. So we don't want business to be complex. We need business to be simple and simple formulas. And sometimes you look at this and you go, this is a pretty simple formula that anyone can do. And these guys are running a business, 400 people plus, revenue in tens of millions, right? And they're using this process. So big, huge congratulations. When you shared that with us, that was a real light bulb moment for us. I thought that was.
When you're running, everyone thinks you've got everything in your life pretty organised, pretty sweet. But the reality is that there's stuff that goes on outside your life. You've got family and friends that you need to pay attention to, and this industry very quickly absorbs you if you're not paying attention. So this means that we're forced to pay attention to things outside of work that help us be better people at work and better people away from work. And James and I are great mates, but we don't catch up socially all the time, so we're not in each other's. So it's a refreshing catch up. We talk business, we're at work all the time, but there is that separation, where you go and do your own thing, and that's a great way of just keeping the relationship, unique and a great check-in though.
Yeah, thank you. Chris, over to you. In one of the big conversations we had, one of the big shifts that you had in your business 12 months ago was actually digging deep into the financials and actually stripping out $1 million. Could you just share that story with the audience? Sure. And if we can go back to obviously live stream.
Yeah, sure. We sort of hit a point in our business where we knew we were coming out of a marketplace that was a lot more buoyant. Our days on market were growing, and and as most businesses, we'd over-resourced and we'd scaled throughout a period that was really flush in the marketplace. Cheap money, we'd onboarded more infrastructure, we'd onboarded more people, we'd agreed to all of the wage increases to hold staff, we were scared about losing good people, so we just kept saying yes to everything. And it got to a point where we could see the wind was dropping out of the sails, so as we were cruising into 2023, it was a bit of a scary moment, and some really hard decisions had to be made. And one of those really important things was going through all of the financials to work out where are we spending all of our money. And some decisions that we'd made in the past were we had team members that were responsible at the time for paying all the bills. Like it was mentioned yesterday, like I wasn't approving the bills. The bills were being approved by team members. So they weren't being looked at. They weren't being efficiently questioned. There was contractors in the business that had been working for us for years that had kind of taken advantage of that. And Dee Martin, my business partner, took over the reins and some people had to go in our business. And when she started going through every single contractor, we just decided, let's get them all in and just ask one simple question. Is that your best price? And we found $196,000 worth of savings from asking that one question to every contractor. Because it wasn't their best price. They were prepared to do a better price just by asking that one question. And obviously through quite a downsize in team, we were at 46 team members, we're now at 32. There was quite a significant amount of cost reduction in just wages alone, because we were throwing people at the problem rather than looking at the actual problem in its entirety. We weren't looking previously at, can we make that role more efficient? Is it actually required in the business? Do we actually get return on investment from that spend? We weren't analysing all of that part of our business. So when you combined all the contractor savings, you combine the wages and the staff and everything that wasn't required, we closed off infrastructure we weren't using. I think Fiona mentioned it before, there was tech on tech on tech on tech that we just kept picking something else up at every single conference we went to. It equated to just under $1.2 million worth of operational overhead that just didn't need to be there. So coming into 2024, this year, our sales with 32 people in the business now have increased. I think in 2023 we did 289, and in 2024 we did, we're at 340 something at the moment. We'll hit around 350, but with 16 less people and $1.2 million worth of operational overhead that's not required. So it just changed the business from being one moment I'm thinking about pulling the door shut to now we've got a profitable business moving forward.
Yeah, well done. Thank you. Thanks for sharing. That deserves a round of applause. And to the dynamic duo, Lisa and Mark, husband and wife teams, and there's been a few husband and wife teams in real estate. How do you go about living and breathing real estate and the balancing act of real estate?
We have our essentials. So our kids are a bit older now. They're 26 and 18, but we've always had Friday night with grandparents, that's a must do. Tuesday nights when Lisa started working solid hours was mandatory with the kids. Sundays we always sort of moved together. So that's how we sort of balance that sort of personal sort of side of things. And then with business, we've always worked sort of fairly constant sort of all the way through with it. But I think we'll get together in the morning for a walk and sync. I walk, Lisa talks. And then, gets her word count out, because guys only need 1,500 words a day and girls need 4,000. So yeah, that's a good sync up. We're sort of in our own parts of our businesses, but I think that's worked. It sort of keeps, you sort of know what's happening, sort of thing.
Yeah.
What do you think?
a lot of people ask this question, Manos, like you guys work together, Maria and yourself work together, and when it works, it's actually magic.
Yeah.
My parents also ran a very, very successful business together. But I think what a lot of people don't realise is that we don't live in each other's pockets at work. Mark's got his own listings, I have my own listings, we don't list and sell together. In fact, we sit at opposite ends of the office and rarely during the day we even say 2 words to each other. That's probably why I get all my word count out at 6 a.m. in the morning. But, you know, Mark really looks after the runnings of the business, more so now than in sales. So Mark oversees everything. And I let Mark do that. And Mark lets me be a salesperson, and we sort of don't cross over paths there. But when it comes to the decisions of the business, you know, there's always one pilot that flies the plane, and I think you've just got to keep it that way. You know, I'll rarely question something that Mark will do with respect to the staff or innovation with the business or making those decisions. It's always a joint decision, but, you know, it's very rare. In fact, I don't think we've ever had an argument over work. You know, and that's how it's got to be. It's built on, and as you would know, Manos, it's built on respect and trust. That's really what it is. And, you know, Mark comes up with crazy ideas that he'll put forward. And I just think, whoever thinks of these things? But Mark does, and that's why
we have to share. We have to share the idea of the desk, please. We have to.
Which one?
The desk with the cut in the desk. This is this.
There's lots of these ideas.
But we have to share this one about saving time, scrunching up paper.
CD, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. That's okay. So this,
I don't know
talk
why
about
it's always
efficiencies. Talk about efficiencies here in your business and looking at your business a little bit differently. And it might seem a little bit out there what Mark is about to share, but think about, if you're thinking that way, how many efficiencies you're going to have in your process,
Yes,
in your
Tuesday
business.
We come in nude into the office, and no. So, look, it's where it came out is we're having a meal the other night, all of us together, and you'll talk about the cost saving in the business, and I was talking about efficiencies in the business where, you know, there are, particularly when you start scaling, you know, volume in your business and things like that. You know, I was talking about the position of where things are in the office to save time. So we've got downstairs a coffee machine. You know, we've invested an enormous amount of money in coffee. You know, there's probably the bar downstairs and the coffee machine and everything there's probably $100,000 spent, but it's all automated. And so staff aren't going out regularly. They're sort of enjoying the office downstairs. And then I started talking about garbage. And I said, you know, when you start having 50 bins a day that have to get emptied a day, it's a lot of labour. So we've reduced that. And I started talking about, we put a slit, when we built this office, we put a slit in everyone's desk. So, because everyone used to crush their paper and then chuck it in the bin, and then some poor soul at the back of the office had to uncrunkle the paper and stick it through the shredder because of all the stuff there. And then you were saying, oh, how much paper do you use? We do. We still use a lot of paper. Don't know why. But yeah, that's some of the efficiencies we've done in our business where, you know, signage we're talking about. I think Lisa talked about yesterday. We print a lot of our signage because we've got a commercial side to our business where, you know, it's on a 30-metre roll and it's 1.5 metres wide, and we're printing all of our signage in the office and wraps and all that sort of stuff for windows in commercial. So yeah, there's some crazy stuff, but it's all in the name of efficiency.
Yep.
Another really good tip as well, and this is something that maybe you guys can take away that we do within the office. We do lots of crazy things, lots of them. They feel like they're crazy initially, and then you look back and you think that was probably one of the best ideas we ever had, or Mark ever had, is we move all the staff around the office. So we have 50 staff. Property management sit in one area, sales sit in another, marketing sit in another, and, you know, accounting, etc. And every few months, Mark will move everyone's desks around. Because what people go crazy, no one loves it because everyone's used to sitting next to their buddy, but we get everyone up and we move all the desks. And it's a great way for, you know, to just keep that culture and that energy really fresh. And, you know, it's just worked really well for us over the years as well.
Yeah, no. What was it? Sorry, Mark?
I think everyone has a greater appreciation of what they do in the business.
100%.
Because, sometimes when you're in your corner, you don't really see what that person's doing. And when you're circulating, like blood, circulating around, it's just a really good efficiency.
Yeah, 100%. And can I just say, and I am conscious of time, can I just say, one of the big lessons that I've learnt in real estate is what happens outside of a conference is so important in the sense of we talk about accountability buddies, and someone said to me, goes, Manos Maria, we always see you guys go to conferences. We always see you attend these conferences. Like, don't you ever get sick of it? I said, absolutely not, because the relationships that we build over this period of time, the lunches that we catch up with, the dinners we catch up with, the random conversations that happen after conferences, that's where the gold happens. And, spending a dinner with the Novaks and with the Chris Henrys, haven't had the pleasure with you guys yet, except obviously at Rise, that's where the magic happens. And I truly believe we talk about networking in our communities. We got to be thinking about networking really heavily within the real estate community. I am conscious of time at the moment, and we want to just share, we're going to hand over first of all, can we give a big thank you to these guys? James, and I know I would have loved to have got I know, you're looking at the time and stuff like that. What we're going to do now is we're going to hand over the mic to Nick to talk about the Rise initiative. The Rise initiative is something I'm hoping in the Rise app, the Care app, for 5-10 minutes. He's going to go through a presentation, and then obviously we'll go on to the next session. So a big round of applause to the guys.